Dang dang dang! Zhou Mingrui was scared by the scene in front of him and took a few steps back. It seemed that the person in the mirror was not himself, but a corpse. How could someone with such serious injuries still be alive? He couldn't believe it and turned his head to the side, checking the other side. Even though the distance was longer and the lighting was blurry, he could still see the presence of the penetrating wound and the deep red bloodstains. Zhou Mingrui took a deep breath, trying to calm himself down. He reached out and placed his hand on his left chest, feeling the intense, rapid, and vibrant beating of his heart. He also touched the exposed skin, the slight chill masking the warmth flowing beneath. After squatting down to verify that his knees could still bend, Zhou Mingrui stood up again, no longer in a state of panic. He furrowed his brow and whispered to himself, "What's going on?" He intended to carefully examine the wound on his head once again. As he took 2 steps forward, he suddenly paused. The dim light of the blood moon outside the window was not sufficient to support the act of careful examination. A fragment of memory was triggered, and Zhou Mingrui turned his head to look at the gray-white pipes on the wall adjacent to the desk and the wall lamp enclosed by a metal grill. It was a modern gas lamp, with a stable flame and excellent lighting effect. Given the family situation of Klein Moretti, it was beyond imagination to even expect a gas lamp, let alone a kerosene lamp. Using candles would be more fitting for their status and social standing. However, 4 years ago, when he stayed up late studying and struggling for the entrance exam to Hoy University, his brother Benson believed that this was an important matter that would shape their family's future. Even if it meant going into debt, he wanted to create favorable conditions for him. Of course, Benson, who had been educated and working for several years, was definitely not a reckless, resourceless, and consequence-ignoring person. He convinced the landlord to fund the basic renovation under the pretext that installing gas pipelines would enhance the apartment's quality and facilitate future rentals. Meanwhile, he took advantage of his job at an import-export company to obtain a new gas lamp at nearly cost price. Surprisingly, he managed to cover the expenses using his savings alone without borrowing money from anyone. As fragments flickered through, Zhou Mingrui returned to his desk, opened the valve of the gas pipeline, and turned on the switch of the gas lamp. Clack, clack, clack. The sound of friction and ignition echoed continuously, but the expected brightness did not descend as Zhou Mingrui had anticipated. Clack, clack, clack. He twisted it a few more times, but the gas lamp remained dim. Withdrawing his hand, Zhou Mingrui pressed his left temple and began to extract fragments of memory, searching for the cause of the situation. After a few seconds, he turned his body and walked towards the side of the door, arriving in front of a mechanical device embedded in the wall, with the same gray-white pipes connected to it. This is a gas meter. Glancing at the exposed gears and bearings, Zhou Mingrui took out a coin from his pocket. It had a dark yellow color with a shimmering copper sheen. The obverse side bore the image of a man wearing a crown, while the reverse side featured a cluster of wheat ears surrounding the number 1. Zhou Mingrui knew that this was the most basic currency of the Kingdom of Ruin, called a copper penny. The purchasing power of 1 penny was roughly equivalent to $3 or $4 before he traveled back in time. There were also coins worth 5 pennies, half a penny, and a quarter of a penny, but they were still not very refined. In daily life, it was necessary to occasionally round up to purchase items. After flipping the coin a few times between his fingers, Zhou Mingrui pinched it and inserted it into the vertically open mouth of the gas meter. Ding ding dong dong! As the penny dropped to the bottom of the meter, the clicking and clacking of gears immediately began, playing a short but beautiful mechanical melody. Zhou Mingrui stared for a few seconds before returning to his wooden desk, reaching out to twist the switch of the gas lamp. Da-da-da-da, snap! A bunch of flames ignited, rapidly growing and casting a bright light. Initially, the light filled the interior of the wall lamp and then passed through the transparent glass, engulfing the room in a cozy glow. The darkness suddenly receded, and the crimson hue retreated from the window. Zhou Mingrui felt a sense of inexplicable relief as he quickly walked over to the dressing mirror. This time, he carefully examined the position of his temple, not missing any details. After careful comparison, he noticed that apart from the initial bloodstains, the gruesome wound had not oozed any more fluid. It seemed to have received the best hemostasis and bandaging, while the slowly pulsating grayish-white brain and the rapidly growing fleshy tissues at the wound were indicating the arrival of healing. Perhaps in 30 to 40 minutes, or maybe 2 to 3 hours, only faint traces would remain there. Therapeutic effects brought about by time travel? Zhou Mingrui raised the corner of his right mouth, whispering silently. Then, he let out a long sigh. Regardless of the reason, at least he was still alive. Calming himself, he pulled open a drawer and took out a small bar of soap. He reached into the worn towel hanging next to the cabinet and grabbed one. Then, he opened the door and made his way to the shared bathroom on the second floor for the tenants. The blood on his head needed to be cleaned up. He didn't mind scaring himself, but if he scared his sister Melissa, who had to wake up early tomorrow, things wouldn't end well. The corridor outside the door was pitch black, with only faint outlines of protruding objects barely visible under the crimson moonlight streaming in through the windows at the end. They seemed like pairs of monstrous eyes silently watching the living in the depths of the night. Zhou Mingrui tiptoed cautiously, feeling both fearful and nervous as he made his way towards the bathroom. Once inside, the moonlight grew stronger, illuminating everything clearly. Zhou Mingrui stood in front of the wash basin and turned on the tap. The sound of rushing water filled his ears, and suddenly he was reminded of the landlord, Mr. Frankie. As the water bill was included in the rent, Mr. Frankie, a man with a top hat, a waistcoat, and a black suit, who was short and thin, would always come to inspect the bathrooms and listen to the sound of running water. If the sound of rushing water was too loud, Mr. Frankie would disregard his gentlemanly demeanor and fiercely swing his cane, striking the door of the bathroom while shouting loudly, "Damn thief! Waste is a shameful thing. I remember you. If I catch you again, you and your filthy belongings will be thrown out. Believe me, this is the most cost-effective apartment in the entire town, and you won't find a more generous landlord than me." Distracting his thoughts, Zhou Mingrui wetted a towel and began to clean the bloodstains off his face, repeating the process over and over again. As Zhou Mingrui looked into the broken and dilapidated mirror in the bathroom, confirming only the grim wounds in his pale face remaining, he felt a sense of relief. He then took off his linen shirt and used soap to rub and scrub away the bloodstains. Just at that moment, he furrowed his brow, realizing that there might be other troubles to deal with. The wounds were severe and there were many bloodstains, not just on his own body. There must be traces of it in the room as well. After a few minutes, Zhou Mingrui finished dealing with the linen shirt and quickly walked back into the house with the wet towel. He first wiped off the blood handprints on the desk, then relied on the glow of the gas lamp to search for any other remaining traces. As he searched, he immediately noticed splattered bloodstains on the floor and the underside of the desk. And next to the wall, there was a gleaming yellow bullet casing. Used a revolver against the temple and fired a shot? The clues suddenly connected, and Zhou Mingrui began to understand the cause of Klein's death. Rather than rushing to confirm, he carefully wiped away the bloodstains and cleaned up the crime scene first. Then, he took the bullet casing and returned to the desk. He opened the cylinder of the handgun and emptied out the bullets from it. Snap, snap, snap. There were a total of 5 bullets and 1 casing, all gleaming with a brass luster. Indeed. Zhou Mingrui glanced at the empty casing and nodded slightly as he inserted the bullets back into the cylinder one by one. He shifted his gaze to the open notebook where the sentence "Everyone will die, including me" was written. More doubts surged in his mind. Where did the gun come from? Was it a suicide, or was it staged to look like one? What could a history graduate from a civilian background get involved in? How did this suicide method leave only a few traces of blood? Was it because of my timely arrival, with inherent healing benefits due to time travel? After pondering for a moment, Zhou Mingrui changed into another linen shirt and sat down on a chair, contemplating more pressing matters. Klein's predicament was not his current priority. The real issue was figuring out why he had time traveled and whether he could travel back. His parents, relatives, close friends, the vibrant online world, and all the diverse cuisines, these were all the things he urgently wanted to return to. Clap, clap, clap. Zhou Mingrui unconsciously flicked the revolver's cylinder with his right hand, then closed it again, repeating the motion over and over. This period of time doesn't seem much different from before, except for some bad luck. How did I inexplicably time travel? Bad luck? Wait a minute, I performed a ritual for good luck before dinner tonight. A bolt of lightning flashed through Zhou Mingrui's mind, illuminating a memory hidden by the mist. As a self-proclaimed know-it-all in keyboard politics, keyboard history, keyboard economics, keyboard biology, and keyboard folklore, he prided himself on knowing a little about everything. Of course, his close friends often teased him for only knowing a little about everything. And one of those areas happened to be the occult. Last year, when I returned to my hometown, I stumbled upon a vertical format hardcover called Secret Techniques and Principles of the Qin and Han Dynasties at an old bookstall. It looked quite intriguing, and I thought it would help me show off online, so I bought it and took it home. Unfortunately, my interest waned as quickly as it came, as the vertical format made it difficult to read. I only skimmed through the beginning before tossing the book into a corner. In the past month, I've been experiencing a streak of bad luck. I lost my phone, a client ran off, and I made mistakes at work. It seems like a series of unfortunate events keeps happening one after another. It was only recently that I remembered the beginning of the Secret Techniques and Principles mentioned a ritual for turning one's luck around. The best part is that it requires minimal effort and no prior knowledge or skills. To improve your luck, according to the ritual mentioned in the Secret Techniques and Principles, you need to divide the main staple food of your region into 4 portions and place them in the 4 corners of your room. This can be done on a table, cabinet, or any other suitable surface. Then, stand in the center of the room and take 4 steps counterclockwise to create a square. During each step, sincerely and silently recite the following phrases: Fuxing Xianhuang Shanzuan for the first step, Fuxing Xianhuang Tianjun for the second step, Fuxing Xianhuang Shangdi for the third step, and Fuxing Xianhuang Tianzuan for the fourth step. After completing the 4 steps, close your eyes and wait in place for 5 minutes. The ritual will be considered successful. That's quite an unexpected turn of events. It seems that despite not expecting anything to happen, you decided to give the ritual a try before dinner. However, nothing seemed to occur at that time. But to your surprise, in the middle of the night, you found yourself transported to a different time or place. It's truly remarkable to have experienced such a phenomenon of time travel. Could you please share more about your journey through time? You seem to have a strong belief that the ritual you performed might have been the cause of your unexpected time travel. With renewed determination, you decide to give it another try the following day, hoping that it will bring you back to your original time. Determined, you put aside your actions with the revolver and sit up straight. Regardless of the outcome, you are willing to give it a shot. Sometimes, desperate times call for desperate measures.